going to record on this computer. All right, I think we are good to go. What is this saying? Okay, no, we are good. All right, let me just make sure I can see all of my computer screens. That is always the challenge.
It's technology, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's crazy. It is incredible. I still feel like a baby when it comes to technology. Welcome everybody to today's Empowered Women's Coaching Call. My name is Kira Love and I'm excited to share with you the beautiful Cathy Feenan today. Thank you for joining us, Cathy.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited about this today. I'll be honest with you, I actually couldn't sleep very well last night because I'm going to be talking about something I'm so passionate about.
Me too, actually, and it's really cool. I'm so glad that we connected on this topic because it's something that I have increasingly felt on my heart that this is an avenue for me to go down and to bring more of this topic to light for the community. I think that it has aligned with no better time to be talking about what we're talking about as well, because there is a lot of fear and uncertainty right now in the community. And it is also something, and I know for yourself as well, Cathy, that has dramatically changed in my life over the past few years. And it's something that I've learned and evolved and grown and expanded on a lot. And to see the transformation in my own life, especially as an independent mum, I feel this sense of responsibility to bring this knowledge to our community and beyond. I actually met Cathy through the work that I do. So we actually get to be business partners, which is amazing. And I met Cathy through a fellow dear friend who has also been one of the greatest mentors in my life. And I know that Scott Harris has been a great mentor for yourself as well as a coach. Before we jump in, maybe you can just share a little bit about who you are and what you do. You are a coach. You are passionate about helping people with wellness as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Kira, and hi to everyone. It's really interesting. I look back on my very early years. I was just that girl that would go with the flow. I really didn't have any idea of kind of what I wanted to achieve in my life. I just drifted like this little leaf and kind of just landed wherever the breeze took me, to be honest with you. And I remember going through my high school years. I actually got put at year 9, 10, 11 and 12 in school, and was coming to the end of my schooling, and we get asked these questions like, what do you want to be in your life? What do you want to do in your life? And I'm like, well, maybe I could be a flight attendant because I'd love to travel. But then I started comparing myself and thinking, I'm not tall enough, I'm not pretty enough, and all of that kind of stuff that we sometimes do as women. And then I thought, well, maybe I could be, a childcare worker because I love working with little children as well. But then I became a bit selfish, if I will, and said, no, one day I want to be a mum, and I don't know if I can look after all those kids. And putting that teacher hat on at the moment, oh my gosh, I so respect you teachers out there right now, wearing that hat at the moment. So I really just had no idea of what I wanted to do in my life and who I wanted to be. And I literally became a shell of myself because I started listening to the whispers of other people, and their voices really just kept on ringing in my ear, and I really just had no self-worth, and I didn't love myself anymore. I didn't see myself as being of value to the world, if I'm honest with you. And it was a real pain point in my life because I just didn't see myself ever being a successful woman, let alone an entrepreneur, a coach and a philanthropist, and working with incredible women just like yourself. And what I realized very quickly was that when my husband Michael came into my life, we were 17, 18 years old, and he was the first person that really came into my life all those years back then, because I'm 44 and a half now, so this is a long time ago. But he was the first person that actually came into my life and said to me, Kath, you can do and be and have whatever it is you want in your life. And I'm like, that sounds crazy, but he was just so certain that I believed it. So I really just held on to his coattails, and I saw him having a vision for his life. And he was my first guide, if I could say that, in my life. And then what I learned was that just through growing businesses and through my own journey in life, being a mum, being a coach, in my corporate workspace of human resources years ago, I could just look back on different chapters of my life of where I was actually creating the realities that came to fruition. Whether those realities served me or not, I was continuously creating that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing as you're talking. I'm just thinking, there's such an overwhelming amount of pressure at a time in our lives where we don't truly know ourselves, that we should know what we want to do with our lives. And it's like you're a failure if you don't, and you're a failure if you change your mind. And, I just think of how many times I've changed as a person and grown as a person and changed my mind over the years, and how much it's served me to embrace those changes and that growth, rather than thinking we should know what we want to be when we're 18. Like I'm a completely different person today, and I did the same thing. I went through teaching and all these different things. I just knew in my heart that none of those things brought me didn't make me feel whole and excited about my life, and it's taken a life's journey to get to where I am today, where I do truly feel like I'm on mission and on purpose. And I think that whole journey has served its purpose to get where I am today. And I think sometimes we just have to let go a little bit and relax a little bit, and not to feel so much pressure, because it takes time to get to know yourself. I think, especially when you go through motherhood and relationships and all of those things. But what we're going to talk about today is being magnetic. And I love that word. I think it's such an attractive word, because it's not just about, and we are going to talk about the financial side a lot today, but really what we're saying when we say wealth is, what is your wealth? Is it more money? Is it incredible relationships? Self-love, just attracting the things that you want more of in your life, more positive energy to your life. I think it's interesting working in the space that I've worked in, and obviously whenever I share something, I'm reflecting on myself as well, so it never comes from judgment. It's usually sharing my own life experience. But people are more addicted in staying stuck where they are than they are moving outside their comfort zone. And I listened to an amazing podcast this morning. I love how she explained it, is that we feel that moving outside our comfort zone and moving towards something, or expecting something greater for ourselves or from ourselves, we feel a sense of pain and fear around creating something new and moving forward. But the truth is, you're experiencing pain every day standing still, because you're capable of so much more. You're worthy of so much more. And I remember feeling a deep sense of unfulfillment and lack of joy by standing still in my comfort zone, because my spirit, even though my head was talking bullshit and telling me I wasn't worthy, my spirit knew that that wasn't the truth. And it wasn't until I started stepping into my potential and started magnetizing more of what I wanted into my life, expecting more from myself, and that expectation of certainty that I was worthy of something more created something more in my life. I think there's a balance of you moving towards more, and that show of certainty, the universe then starts bringing it towards you as well. And it's that, beautiful mix of grace versus taking action versus, then it starts coming to fruition for you. But our thought is a force. It is an energy, and we draw into our life the frequency that we're putting out there. So it's really important that you know what frequency you're putting out to the world, right? And this frequency of I'm not worthy is not going to create the life of your dreams. And it's something you have to consciously show up and work on. I've had to do a lot of conscious work on this belief system that I have. We get in life what we have, and we get in life what we have the courage to ask for. And I want to know in the comments, so too few people are having the courage to say, you know what, abundance is always present. I love this quote. This quote actually transformed my life. Abundance is always present. We don't create abundance. It's already there. We're creating the limitations that stop us from accessing the abundance. There's enough abundance in the world for us all to live in prosperity and the life of our dreams. It's whether we have the courage to ask for it or not. And there's a huge difference in thinking that you deserve versus knowing you're worthy. There's a very big difference between those two. Is, I deserve this. It's like the spoiled little brat versus knowing it in your heart and in your soul that you are worthy. you know, you were born on this planet just like anybody else. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of living a prosperous life. And another quote that I want to share before we get into this, which I absolutely love as well, is power attracts money and powerlessness repels it. This has been one of the hardest lessons of my life, especially coming into being an independent mom. I spent my entire life believing it was a man's responsibility to cultivate and manage wealth in a relationship. And I handed over my power in doing that and made myself powerless. And I have spent the past 2 years working with a wealth creation coach to take my power back and to grow my knowledge, not only on how to manage wealth, but how to attract it into my life as well, because I am worthy and I am a powerful, worthy, deserving woman. So there's a few topics we're going to go through today. We are going to talk about how you can use your mind to create more of what you want in your life. And we're also going to talk about our belief systems and how the subconscious and conscious mind works. So I'm not sure where you want to start, Cathy, on that, but I might just hand it over to you and we'll just flow and see where we go.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you. And it's something that I totally resonate with as well, Kira. Even though I've been in a marriage for 22 years this year, that has taken a lot of work, and we certainly could have gone off into our two different directions as well. But, you know, to where I was before and the woman that I am today as well, even in our household and with my daughter Amy, who's 16, I wanted to be the model for my daughter. I wanted to be the model and the example, you know, to lead by example, not by the words I was saying with my tongue, but actually the action that I was taking in my own life as well. And I went through most of my years, you know, as a career woman, as in working for corporate Australia, in my own businesses, really working under the shadow of my husband. You know, I saw him being this very successful person in his own right, but I constantly would measure myself against these other people that I seemed, you know, were successful in lots of different areas of their life as compared to where I was at on my own journey. And that's something I had to remind myself. And of course, you know, one of our coaches, Mitch and Mills from MJB seminars, really helped me to understand that when we look up to people and put people above us, subconsciously, we're constantly looking down on ourselves and putting ourselves down. So that's something that I really had to shift as well. Totally, you know, when we're thinking about creating our reality and creating a life that we want, that's filled with joy and happiness and love and good health and abundance when it comes to money and, you know, relationships and our spiritual life, all of these different areas of our life that we value. What I had to realize is that nothing happens by accident. It all happens with a purpose. And that's what I got really excited about, because I never saw myself as a creator in the past. I always saw myself never as the inventor. I was the implementer. I was the girl that yeah, you too. And
tell me what to do and I'll do it amazing. But don't leave it up to me to decide.
Totally, 100%. And I literally lived most of my life in that belief of I can't create. I'm not a creator. You just give me a platform, a framework, give me ABC, I'll go do ABC and that result will happen. So I started to get really frustrated in my life when I was working in corporate Australia and I was working so hard. I was taught, you know, coming out of school, especially by the example of my parents, and they did the best that they knew how, that if we come out of school, we get a good education, as Robert Kiyosaki always talks about his amazing books that he's got, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I remember reading that 20 years ago and thinking, gosh, you know, I am being taught to go to school, get a good education. You just go work hard for all of your life and you'll get what you want. And, you know, I just saw all of these broken hopes and dreams of so many women and so many families, including my own, that had followed that system, if you will, or those teachings, and it just didn't work, and we ended up being frustrated. So I started to take things into my own hands, and it's interesting because way back then I started to attract. When I asked myself that question, there's got to be more in life than this rat race that I found myself in. You know, I was broke, I was unfulfilled, I was unhappy, I wasn't doing what was setting my soul on fire. And I just knew that I was called for more in this life. And I think for all of us, we all have that innate desire to make a difference in the world. We all have the desire to help other people, to grow as human beings, as well as to contribute to the highest good of all. And that's what really excited me. So I started to just really, you know, search down those people that have walked before me and achieved results in their life that I was seeking to achieve, and kind of got a little bit curious. It's like, what are these guys up to? Whatever they're doing, I want to go do. And so I found myself being surrounded by a lot of mentors and coaches and guides in my life, that stems back to the wisdom of the ages that have been around for thousands and thousands of years, that we just get to copy now and create that life by design, which is really exciting. And you know what I learned as well is that life is really a game, and there are rules. When we think about when we play the rules in a video game, there are levels in that video game that we want, that we're always desiring more. We always want to grow. We always want to contribute. And that's what I've learned. I've learned that in a game called life, that we have rules. And Scott Harris always said this was something that was so profound for me. And he asked the question, you know, rules are meant to be. And I said, broken, just like everybody else, right? And he says, no, like rules are meant to be followed. If you don't brush your teeth and floss your teeth every day, your teeth are going to fall out, right? And so there are rules of life. And so when we start following those rules, or following those universal laws and principles.
That's what I think. That work. I'm very rebellious, and I love Scott, but every time he says that, I'm like, no, rules are not broken.
It's a challenge.
It really challenges me. But because I make my own rules, right? But I really love. I think the term, just to add another term for people, I have a greater understanding of what he's saying now. So, and this is the benefit of having multiple mentors. Mitch and Mills call it universal laws. So that has a different energy for me, because I spent my life rebelling against rules, right? But I love the quote that they say is that the quality of your life is determined by your willingness to understand the laws that govern you, and the degree that you suffer is the degree that you do not abide by the laws.
Yeah, 100%. And there is absolutely no flaw. You know, doesn't matter what we call it. We just know that there are rules, there are laws, there is a guidance. There's a guidance. There's a GPS there that we can literally be navigated by. And if you don't take accordance to that, you're going to end up somewhere that is by default. And somewhere where you probably don't want to end up, all because
life is happening to me versus life is happening for me. Are you driving your life somewhere, or are you just going to sit there like a victim and just let life blow you around like a
100%? And that's the work here, isn't it? It's we get to choose. We get to choose to be a victim, or we get to choose to be the victor, the victorious person. But within all of that, it's a journey. It's like this up and down thing of winning this game called life as well, which is really exciting. But yeah, you know, when you learn the rules, or you learn the laws, or whatever we want to label them as, you're going to get the results accordingly. And what I love about it is that there's certainty there for us. Yes. You know, I look at today and I think about, you know, there is a lot of uncertainty in our world right now. I've been speaking to a lot of my friends and family who are losing jobs, or people that are losing their sole source of income for their family. And I remember being in that space, you know, back in 2008 when we had 12 years ago, and we had our last financial winter. I'm just talking about the finances at this particular point, because this is something that we can all relate to. And I just remember being in that situation where we had a company that was tied to the mines here in Newcastle. And when the mines went down, we lost almost everything that we had worked so hard for over, 15 to 20 year period. And I remember sitting in my lounge room thinking, right. So what am I going to do with this? How can I look at this differently? What is this teaching me?
And what I love about that, Cathy, because for the victim mentality out there, there are genuinely circumstances like right now.
Yeah.
This circumstances is outside our control. We didn't choose to direct this in our life, but we can always control how we respond and react. That's where we
100%.
take our power back. Rather than being a victim, it's like, how do I pivot right now? What is this going to teach me and show me, and how do I grow through this?
Yeah, absolutely. And the hardest thing as well through all of this as well, the uncertainty and not knowing where the income's going to come from, or whatever it is that you're looking for to level up in any area of your life really, is just knowing that counting it all joy. Counting it all joy, because when we count the hardships and the lessons, and I look back on all the hardships, as I know you do too, Kira, and many of us here on this call will look back on the things that we didn't receive in the past, or the things that didn't come to fruition for us. And we look back and we think, you know what, I'm kind of glad that that didn't happen, because it could have been completely a different outcome altogether. And being grateful and thankful for all of those lessons in the past as well. And that's what brings us to that law of vibration, if you will. It's one of those universal laws where when we look at something underneath a microscope, what we're really going to notice is that every particle vibrates at different frequencies, right? And so these frequencies, that's the energy behind the co-creation.
And I just want to say here, I just want to insert a disclaimer as we go into this.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what your religious or spiritual beliefs are. It doesn't matter whether you believe in foo-foo, religion, spirituality or not. We're talking science right now.
Yeah.
That is undeniable. This is not about beliefs, spirituality, or being some weird hippie. We're actually talking about science. Continue.
100%. It's totally physics. Manifestation is really just the phenomenon that occurs that when we have something in our imagination becomes actual in our reality through the power of using our mind. And it's physics. It's not a philosophy. It's not someone said, okay, this is an idea, go do that. No, it's on an energetic level. And that's what I loved about it, because I love the science behind things as well. Even though I'm not a detailed girl, I love to keep it simple, and I love to have fun with whatever I'm learning. But when you understand, and there are a whole bunch of books out there that you can go and read around quantum physics and, how energy works.
Interesting. Even just to start with one, like for me, because I like to know that what I'm learning, there is some fact, base to it. I'm very spiritual, but I do like to ground myself in real common sense. Does this make sense to me? And I think the first book that I started, and I don't go down the rabbit hole, but I remember it's a Bruce Lipton book, Biology of Belief. That was my first exposure to quantum physics, and it opened up my mind so much to everything that I now learn and talk about and share. And I don't really look to read too much of the scientific stuff now, because I have enough of a knowledge to go, okay, there is grounding to this. And so I can just develop, the other side to it now. But that's a great one to start with if anyone's like, okay, this sounds like BS. Where's the proof?
Yeah, I need to go check this out. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's a great thing, is that we get to put our detective hat on, and I'm always looking for proof as well. And then what I also learn is that what we go looking for is what we're going to go and find.
Yes.
So if you're going to go looking at a whole bunch of people with that negative mindset of saying this is a whole load of crap, yeah, you're going to find that. But if you go looking for, well, what does work and what's the evidence that backs that up? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm always choosing to see the positive and, how are people level up? How are people moving forward? And this is when we start talking about, you know, the high vibe and the low vibe frequency that comes in. We talk about your vibe attracts your tribe. And this is a perfect example, Kira, because I know in one of my visualizations, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. For about 3 years, I was really lost and lonely. I still had my passions and I was coaching and I was doing one-on-one and all those great things, but I had no community anymore. And so I remember sitting down in bed this one night, as I normally do, just writing out my visualization and my gratitude. And I wrote down exactly the kind of people that I wanted to be around, that they had great values, that, you know, they had no attachment to any outcome, that people are here to serve, that they're just here to give love, they're here to share, they're here to teach, they're here to have fun. And literally it was like a shopping list, like you go down to the supermarket now, that it was a shopping list for what I wanted for this tribe that I was looking for. And then all of a sudden I find myself as part of this empowered women's tribe. And I remember going to bed that later on that night when this was all unfolding, and I was crying thinking, oh my gosh, like this has really come true. And I actually got
like two-sided those, because as you're writing that, I think instinctually you're asking yourself, well, am I that person? So that's part of that tribe. And so it's that same analogy again of you're moving towards it and it's coming towards you. So if you're a neg ferret, bitchy, negative, glass is half empty person, Cathy and I are just not going to want to hang out with you.
No, sorry.
We don't have time for drama, right? Or like, you know, maybe you don't want to hang out with us either, but
we just practice unconditional love from a distance.
Yes. You know, you have to raise your vibe to hang out with high vibe people, but that's what's beautiful about it. It's like attracts like.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And it's talking about our dream reality. And when we talk about our reality, it's our mindset and it's vibrating at that higher frequency. And what I've learned and implemented myself is that if we spend at least 50% of our time dwelling on positive thoughts and feelings, we can match that frequency. And it's the thoughts and the feelings that create the belief that then create the inspired action that creates the results that you're looking for in your life, which is really exciting. So, you know, when we talk about the law of attraction, I remember, you know, reading The Secret years and years ago, and other things as well. And what I learned was that, you know, when we focus on positive, we're going to get positive. If we focus on negative, that's what we're going to get as well. Henry Ford said it, you know, whether you think we can or whether we think we can't, either way, you're right, because that's what we're saying, and what we say is what we get. And so definitely, you know, I remember just working really hard through my life, and I was a workaholic, Kira. You know, I just went to work hard to really mask a lot of the insecurities and a lot of the self-destruction that I was, you know, putting on my own self when it came to my own beliefs. And I just put myself to work really hard to mask that, keep myself busy, if you will. But what I found was that I just was getting nowhere in life. I was working hard, but just had the same reality. Like I was getting a year older every year, but I had the same reality every year upon year. And I just remember getting to a point where I was sitting, I remember, you know, driving to work at Newcastle Permanent into HR. And I just remember sitting on the lounge, you know, watching the news or something in the morning, which is something rare that I do, but literally sitting there crying as I put in, you know, this is showing my age now, but a good old, you know, the VCR tapes that you stick into. Some of you may not even remember that. That's okay. But I remember putting in this video, and it was all about our self-esteem and our self-worth. And I just remember sitting there crying as I'm watching this guy talk about our beliefs and why we self-sabotage. And it all comes back to, you know, our subconscious mind. It all comes back to thinking about that deepest part of our mind that we're not aware of, that is responsible for creating our reality. And what we impress upon this is that our conscious mind creates our reality. So it's getting those two into alignment, which is often really difficult, because unless you know how to do it. So there's some strategies and some exercises that we can definitely do to help you to align your conscious mind to your subconscious. But, you know, something that I found was really helpful is that our subconscious mind is only as old as a 7-year-old child. So when we were first born, we have no filter in our mind. So those people that we were hanging around became our truth. So whatever we were listening to, whatever was said around us, whatever we experienced, it really became our truth. And, you know, everything that we learned or heard, we were conditioned. And so this 7-year-old brain, if you will, it's cemented into our subconscious mind. I had a story that was ruling me for almost ever, up until just a few years ago, that my mother didn't love me. And I just remember, you know, as a little girl being brought up in an Italian household, what do little Italian girls want to do? They want to go and cook in the kitchen with their nonna, with their mum, right? And I just remember, you know, always being pushed away by my mum, you know, get out of the kitchen, I don't want you around, you know, I'm busy, I'm better to do this by myself. But I didn't realise back then, only up until, you know, not that long ago, that mum had a mental illness, bipolar. And I had no idea, but this experience that I had as a child, I noticed that this was happening, but I created a story that said my mum doesn't love me. And so this story that I had going on this subconscious level, this level that I was not aware of, it's below our consciousness, was telling me that if my own mother doesn't love me, then who's going to love me? I'm never going to be good enough. I'm not enough. And that became my reality. And so that's when my life really started to take that downward spiral. A little bit like the ant and the elephant. If you imagine we've got the elephant is like your subconscious mind, and that's kind of wandering and meandering through life as a 7-year-old mind. But you've got this little ant on the top, that's the conscious mind saying, hey, like trying to steer and guide this elephant, and it just won't budge. But once we get those two into alignment, that little ant's in alignment with the elephant, and it's going to be able to guide that elephant wherever it wants to, right? And
I love that, because so many people are quite may feel a little flippant about how much of this is actually driving your life. Like, we don't realize. And on paper, I had a beautiful childhood. I feel like I had so much adventure. I feel deeply loved by both parents. You know, there's no real alarming thing on paper, but when you're a 7-year-old child, your perspective of events is such as the one that you described, even though in your heart or in your mind, you might know that you were loved to the capacity that was possible by your mother. As a 7-year-old or younger child, perhaps that wasn't what you perceived. And we don't realize that those stories stay stuck in our subconscious. And I just want to quote MJB again on this. I did his seminar recently on money and wealth creation, and I just love this. And I want you to let this sink in and understand the magnitude of this statement, because it is ruling your life. Your innermost dominant thought, which you may or may not be conscious of, your innermost dominant thought creates your outermost dominant reality. Change happens in the subconscious mind. You have to repattern your innermost dominant thought for your outermost dominant reality to shift. The other one that I really loved, which really hit home for me this time round when I heard it, is your conscious expression of wealth. So consciously, the wealth around you, or what you perceive wealth to be, is founded in your subconscious sense of self. So on the outside, if you think you deserve something, but on the inside, you don't feel worthy because in your subconscious mind, you felt unloved, not enough, not beautiful enough, you know, whatever those stories might be, that is shaping what you're experiencing on the outside.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. And it's really important. And that's one of the steps of when we think about a manifestation process, if I can call it a process, is there's a few steps. And one of the crucial steps is really defining and embodying the version of yourself who already lives this reality. You know, we hear so many people say, fake it till you make it. And it's so true. You know, so when we, and I remember, you know, with my own coaches just in the past, I remember, you know, I would go down to the supermarket and I would look at the, you know, maybe the generic brand of whatever I needed to buy, because I would always buy cheap. And I had to think to myself, okay, if I was that multimillionaire that I was striving to, you know, create so I could give and share and be generous and, you know, do the things that I wanted to serve people with and also live that great life myself, how would that multimillionaire think going to the supermarket on a daily basis? Would you choose the generic brand? And there's nothing wrong with generic. I still buy generic. Let's get that clear, right? But my thought process was always go for the cheapest and always look for the bargains. And I am a bargain hunter anyway. But if I really wanted, you know, that slice that's got that ganache with those cherries on top and it's $3 more than what I would have paid in that slice, instead of saying, oh, $3 more, especially when we were, you know, really growing our finances and we had the budget and we still do today. But it's having that mindset of, well, how would a multimillionaire think? Or how would a millionaire think? How would a thousandaire think, you know, to be able to get out of that broke cycle, if that makes a difference. So it's just the habits that we have on an everyday basis of how can we embody that version of ourselves that attracts that reality that actually makes it happen, which is really exciting. So
and part of that is those quality questions, because what comes to mind when you think that, when you say that, is, well, how would they think? Maybe some people are thinking that, you know, so often we might be making budget cuts because we think, oh, you know, like for example, I might move out of this home and find a cheaper rent so that I can save $200 a week. Well, a millionaire would think, how do I create $200 a week so I don't have to? It's a very different mindset that will produce an entirely different outcome. Now, it doesn't say that sometimes it's not wise to make budget cuts and take those things into consideration, but sometimes it's more powerful to flip that and think about creating and expanding rather than
definitely. And I remember Robert Kiyosaki years and years ago, and he still says it today. It's not, you know, instead of saying I can't afford it, how can I afford it? You know, what's the possibility thinking? What's the creation thinking? And creating that new identity. And that's really valid, Kira, because there are some really great quality questions that we can ask ourselves to be able to create that version of ourselves. You know, we can ask ourselves, you know, what are her thoughts? What are her beliefs? What are her habits? What is her self-talk? How is she speaking to herself? What is she grateful for? Instead of complaining. I know that I used to be that person that would complain when I was in the scarce and the lack mentality. And what I realized is that when I'm complaining and I'm not grateful for what I do have in my life, that was actually blocking the blessings that were on their way. And it's like, oh, okay, let's get on to that, because I don't want that to happen anymore.
But we block success as well. I think sometimes we're more scared of success and we are staying the same. Like I think of like one really big lesson I had to learn, and I had some coaching from Scott around this actually, is when my business began to grow, I found myself under so much stress and strain to manage being a great mom, cleaning my house and keeping it in order, running my business. And it was a huge mindset shift. And this is just one example, to take my cleaner from once a fortnight to 3 times a week so that I could grow my business. I had to completely shift my mindset. And so many of you right now might even feel triggered in that. Like, how dare she? Who do you think you are? A cleaner 3 times a week? That's so extravagant. Well, no, because my gift and my service is spent better doing these calls. And not only am I growing my wealth in doing so, I'm helping to grow other people's wealth. Rather than, you know, I would pay myself more to do this than I would to clean my house. And even right now, you know, a lot of people might be thinking contraction, how do I save money? And they might be closing in on some of those things. Whereas for myself, I completely value my housekeeper. She's a part of my team. And so my question is always going to be, how can I continue providing for her? How can I continue expanding even through this change? Because she is a valued part of what I do. And she loves what she does. And I want to make sure that I'm contributing. It's a two-way street. You know, it's not her coming into my life and I have this extravagance. That's what she does, and she loves to do it. I do what I do and I love to do it. And we have this team which allows us both to expand on what we love to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. I think it's really important. Well, I know it is important to have what does that dream or what does that vision look like for you? And I remember as well, you know, having on my vision board, having someone to look after the gardens for us, you know, having someone to come and cook for us every now and then, you know, when it was a little bit crazy in our household, or someone to look after our home as well. And even though I quite enjoy doing those things, I'd rather be spending time really doing what sets my soul on fire as well, and that's making an impact in the lives of other people.
And that's your zone of genius. You're more
Yes.
valuable in your zone of genius than
Yeah.
you are doing the things that you don't like or aren't in that zone.
Absolutely. And one of the hardest things that I actually found was actually having that vision to start with. And that's where, you know, when we talk about manifesting or attracting the life that you really want, whatever that looks like for you, you know, everybody has a different vision or a different ideal as to what success means to them. It doesn't mean this car, that house, that location, travel here. It's whatever you want it to be. So for success for me, I wanted to be that present mom. I wanted to be able to be at the side of the swimming pool when Amy was swimming in her carnival. We wanted to be those work from home parents that had flexibility and time and actually have freedom over our own calendar and rule our time. I wanted to be able to be generous and give to the people that I wanted to give to. I wanted to teach what I loved and what I was passionate about. And what I know is that for each and every one of you that are on this call today, that success is inevitable and you're always on the right path so long as you follow your heart. So long as you follow what your gut and that little voice that's inside that is divinely guiding you towards, and it feels good and it feels right, go do that, because it's asking you, it's calling you. And we've all been at those times in our life, if not even now, where we're just called for greater things, for the greater good of everyone, you know, for everybody in this world to really benefit from. And that's where I get really excited about this united consciousness that we can all have together, because it's our vibration, it's our vibe, it's our frequency that together is just so powerful. And, you know, manifestation is not something that we do. It's something that we be, you know, we're human beings, not human doings at the end of the day. And that's really exciting. But when it comes to our vision, you know, just some great questions that you can ask yourself. And we might actually wrap up shortly, I think, Kira, with a visualization exercise. If,
maybe we could share about the challenge and then finish with the visualization.
Yeah, absolutely. So the real key in creating the life that you want, or the outcomes that you're looking for, or the results, is really what is using your imagination. And as human beings, we have been completely blessed by having an imagination. There's no other creature on the planet that has an imagination like we do, right? But so many times we forget to be childlike. As we grow up, we forget to play, we forget to have fun, we forget to have that imaginary friend in our life. And so, you know, if you had a magic genie that just appeared in front of you right now and granted you unlimited wishes, what would you actually ask for? What would you be bold and brave enough to actually ask for? What would you be courageous enough to ask for? You know, if you were given $1 million, now what? What would you do? You know, what would you do if you knew that without a shadow of a doubt, you absolutely could not fail, right? And if you could be or do or have anything that you wanted to in this lifetime, if you wanted to make a difference in the lives of other people, what would that look like for you? And that's where it really all starts. And so I actually have a vision board as well. It's in my office here, but I've got one on my phone. And I know that we actually did this, we did this exercise at the beginning of the year, which was just amazing. That if we have a vision board and we keep that in front of us all the time, it helps us and it reminds us, what are we focusing on? What are our goals? And then from that, you'll get excited. You're going to have that inspired action. You're going to have your heart and your gut and your spirit say, do this step, do that next step. That inspired step is being connected to a super intelligence that's greater than ourselves, right? Some of us call it the universe, God, angels, whatever that is for you. It really doesn't matter. Just know that there's something, a creator that we're co-creating with, which is really exciting when we understand that. And so if we can visualize, just even for 5 minutes, if you just imagine for 5 minutes, just putting yourself in that space. It's not so much what you imagine, but it's actually the feelings. When you get into that vibration of feeling good, Gabby Bernstein talks about it a lot in her Super Attractor book, which is a great resource as well. It's good to feel good, and you'll know that you're out of vibration or out of alignment when you're feeling shitty, right? When we're feeling like we're in a funk. And we can use some really easy strategies or some great exercises and practices every single day to get us out of that funk of the low vibe and just feeling yuck. That's the only word I can describe for it for myself. Gratitude is the quickest and most effective way to get into high vibe. I often go on to a gratitude rampage. It was about 2 weeks ago when I was really in a funk. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to get on my messages. Like, I just wanted to hide in my cave, right? And I don't know if you girls have been there or guys have been there before, but I often go on this gratitude rampage. And, and even, my ego pops up sometimes. It's like, just have a pity party today, Kath. You'll get over it. Tomorrow's a new day or whatever. And I'm put on that big door hat, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you hold me down today. So I'll just start with the smallest thing. If you can't think of anything to be grateful for, I'll literally just sit there and just look at my hands and say, I'm thankful for my fingers. I'm thankful for my hands. I'm thankful that I can hold a pen. I'm thankful for that pen that I can write for. I'm thankful for this paper. And you just become thankful, and it just goes on and on and on. And the great thing about that is that when you're more grateful for more things, that is the most potent high vibe energy that you can have. So if you can practice that attitude of gratitude every single day, it is seriously life-changing. It's completely made a massive shift for me.
If I could only ever give one tip to transforming your life, it would be having a gratitude practice for sure. And then
absolutely.
Crisis when I just can't find my way, or I'm just feeling really anxious or fearful or stressed or sad or any kind of suffering.
Yeah.
If I can remember to just come back to a space of gratitude and I get my journal out, that's my way out. That's my lifeline.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so one of the other things that we really wanted to share as well out of this community, one of the things that we love to do is we love to give. So one of the, I actually did a 21-day money manifestation challenge, and I thought that would be just a great tool or a resource that you could have fun with to start manifesting and attracting wealth when it comes to finances. And of course, you can apply this to every single area of your life that you value. But, having a strategy that you can follow, it's very simple. Each exercise only takes maybe 10 minutes to 15 minutes to 20 minutes each day, but it's something small that you can start on your manifestation journey, which is really exciting. I remember the very first time that I did this, I did have a goal to achieve $1,000. And I thought, well, let's just start there. I attracted $4,500. It literally came out of nowhere, and it's like, this is really cool. I'm going to try that again. And it just kept on changing every month, which is really exciting. So it's just a foundation for you to be able to attract wealth into your life, and really move forward with that inspired action as well, and grow that faith in your life. Really step out of the worry, the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty, into moving into that place of certainty, of faith, and really moving into that place of love. Ultimately is what we're looking to do, because love and abundance, as you said, Kira, it's here now. We've just forgotten about it. We just need to return back to that, and that's the exciting part.
So we're going to run that in the Empowered Women's group. So there's a link at the top of this live that you can join the group if you haven't already. Will we start that tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll definitely start it tomorrow. I'll do a little introduction tomorrow. So it might be a little bit of an extra long post just to do an intro. But literally, it's almost like, if you think of it like a workbook, so there'll be an exercise to do, then you'll go away and do that. And I'd really love, and I'd encourage you guys to interact in the group as well. I think that's always a great thing, knowing that you're never alone, on this journey. And especially for me, I remember I'd never heard of this, these physics, or, these, what actually works before. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of all new to me. But if you just keep an open mind, and you just trust that on this call right here and right now, we're not here by an accident. We're here on a purpose. So that's really exciting to start.
And there's no gain for us. We're purely here to add value. Invite your friends, invite your team members, your family. If you're in lockdown, you've got plenty of time to add, 10 minutes a day to transform your life. And this is the thing that really gets me sometimes, is I know that everyone's on their own journey, and in their own time and space, they will be ready. But there's no accident that you're on this call. Power attracts more wealth. Powerlessness repels it. Do you want to be an attractor, or do you want to be repelling more of what you want in your life? And here is an opportunity to learn some skills to help you create more of what you do want. So join the group. The link is at the top of this live. Invite your friends and family, people that you care about. Share this live if you want to, within your teams and within your family. So Cathy, I know you want to finish with a little bit of a visualization, so I might spotlight you, and I'll let you finish the call however you would love to.
Yeah, thank you, Kira. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity to serve. It's just something that I really love to do, and that's why I love this community, because there are such abundant hearts, such giving people on here, and that was all part of my dream. And part of what I really value the most is the people that I get to hang out with and choose to hang out with in my life. I take that really cautiously, who I hang out with, and make sure I'm around the right people. But as we finish up on, this is a guided visualization. So if you've never done a meditation before, this is a really beautiful way. There's a thing called the law or a rule of gender. And so a lot of the times we go through our life where it's all go, go, go. It's getting stuff done. It's doing the work, which is really masculine and very important. Knowing the numbers in your business, doing your KPIs, whatever that means, as an example. But then we have this beautiful feminine energy that is really important as well, that comes with grace. And so that's what we're going to include today. So first of all, what I'd really love for you to do is, if you've never done a meditation before, I'd love for you just to go ahead, just find a position that feels comfortable for you as you're sitting down in your chair here. So whether you've got your legs crossed, or you're sitting in the chair with your feet that are flat on the ground, just make sure that you're in a position where you can be alert, but also incredibly relaxed as well. And so once you've found that position, just go ahead and close your eyes. So whenever you're ready, take a nice big inhale through your nose. Hold it right at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And release it through your mouth with a big sigh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take another nice deep inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold it right at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And release it once more through your mouth with a big sigh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now repeat the same cycle of breaths as I take you through this guided visualization to help you reflect on the last 12 months that has just passed and create your biggest breakthrough year in the following year that's ahead. This visualization will help you gain all the clarity and the certainty that you need to manifest all your deepest heart's desires. This visualization is here to remind you that your success is already inevitable and you are already on the right path. It's up to you what you want to accomplish and achieve in this next chapter. You can choose anything that you want and all of it you already innately deserve. You don't have to do anything special or different in order for you to be worthy and deserving of every single one of your desires. Abundance is your birthright. Success is your birthright. There is plenty to go around for all, and by you having more, you do not take away from anyone else. We live in an abundant world where everyone gets to win. Everyone gets to choose the life that they want to live. Everyone gets to be, do, and have whatever it is that they desire. They get to give whatever they desire. It's time to let go of all your doubts, fears, worries, and insecurities. They will not serve you in this guided visualization and certainly will not guide you in manifesting your biggest breakthrough year yet. It's time for you to choose faith. Bring your gentle awareness to that right now. Faith. What would having absolute faith look like to you in your life? Where do you feel faith in your body? How do you show up in your life when you're filled with faith? How do you show up in your life when you know that all is well and everything is unfolding just as it should be? How do you speak, act, think? What do you believe when you're 100% rooted in faith? Wherever you feel faith in your body, place your hands there right now. Feel into this energy. Notice how strong it resides there. Notice the warmth, the tingles, the colour, the shape, and the size of this energy. Notice that it's always with you. It's always inside you, and it's always here to help you. You never lose faith. You only lose the awareness of it. Whenever at any point in this process or in the upcoming year should doubt come straight back up for you, just place your hands here again and remind yourself that you are always being divinely guided. You are loved and protected every single step of the way. What about when you think about the year ahead? Think about the year that has just passed you. What comes up for you? What emotions and memories and feelings or thoughts come into your awareness as you reflect on the year that's behind you and we are stepping into a new chapter ahead? Take a moment to feel into what you feel. Allow anything that needs to come to your awareness, come to your awareness. And whatever comes to mind, whatever you feel, it's all okay and it's all just perfect. Celebrate the good and release all that didn't serve you last year. Take a moment right now to feel gratitude for everything that happened in the last year. All of your accomplishments, your beautiful life lessons learned, and all that you created. Feel into how miraculous life has worked out for you to get to where you are. Just for a moment, forget about all that didn't work out in your favor. And just for this moment, focus on what did. See how you were being guided the entire way. See how divine, God, angels, whatever you believe in, were right there by your side as your life unfolded to work out perfectly for you. Take a deep breath and invite that gratitude into your entire body. How good does that feel? Now that you've done that, bring your gentle awareness to anything that hasn't served you in this last year. Any negative thought patterns, emotions, feelings, beliefs, and experiences you know you need to let go of before the new chapter emerges. Know deep in your heart that it is safe for you to let go, to clear your slate, to forgive, to move past, and to start anew. This is the beauty of a new day. You get the beginning, and the best part, you get to experience this every single day. Every single day is a brand new beginning for you to complete a completely brand new life. Isn't that incredible? As you take another deep, cleansing breath in, this time I want you to release. Intentionally exhale all that no longer serves you, has never served you, and will never serve you as you set out to achieve and create your dream life. Sit in that feeling of release and see just how good it feels for a moment. Feel how good it feels to let off all the burdens that weigh you down, off all your shoulders. Feel how good it feels to spread your previously weighed down wings and lift off to fly again. Now, as we enter a new chapter, I'm going to take you 1 year out into the future. Trust that your body, your mind, and your spirit know what's going on and can future travel safely while showing you everything that you're going to create and attract and manifest into your life just 8 months from now. Mentally, just imagine it's now December 31st, but this time it's out into the future. It's New Year's Eve, and you, your friends, and your family are sitting together just before midnight, reflecting on the year before. Everyone's going around sharing what they've achieved, and they're so grateful to have learned and experienced all they have, and you're feeling so proud of their accomplishments. The time comes down to sharing with your friends and family what you have created in the year prior. You are beaming with excitement because you and everyone knows just what an incredible year you just had. However, you hadn't had the chance to share the details with everyone yet, so now is your chance. As you reflect on the year that has just passed, you feel an overwhelming sense of joy from the depths of your belly. You feel goosebumps spread all over your body as a confirmation that you're on the right path, and your willingness to let go of your doubts, your fears, and your worries paid off big time for you. So what was it that you created this last year? See the images as they flood your third eye or the inside of your mind. Hear all the sounds of celebration penetrate your ears as you hear all the woohoos and the yays and the woos coming from you and your friends and your family. Feel right now in this moment the feelings of joy, the feelings of accomplishment, of celebration, gratitude, amazement as they flood your body too. What are you most proud of accomplishing? What are you most proud of overcoming? How did you do it? What did you have within you that drove you to create such an epic year? Was it your resourcefulness, your tenacity, creativity, commitment to your goals? Did you look up to anyone who may have helped you to get there? Did you have a mentor, a coach, a guide, or someone to show you the way? Or did you do it on your own? How did you feel on a daily basis? What positive emotions did you cultivate inside your body the whole way through? What beliefs did you believe about yourself that allowed you to create such an epically aligned reality? And what did you know that you would lose if you did not take action on all your dreams and goals? Why was it so important for you to make achieving your dreams a must? And now, what are all the benefits that you've experienced because you've made all this non-negotiable a must? Take a few moments and see yourself reliving the entire year that has just passed. Feel the feelings as if you're feeling through the whole year all over again. Hear the sounds as if you're hearing the entire year all over again. See the sights, the images, the play-by-plays, the movie play out in front of you all over again as you eagerly describe how amazing your year was to your friends and family. Go ahead and get crystal clear on what the year looked like for just a few moments of silence. Make sure you keep smiling all the way through. Lock this inside of you. Make sure your mind remembers exactly what to do, what to experience, and what to manifest in this coming year ahead. This is how you train your mind for success. This is how you visualize yourself to success. This is the start of things super intentional about how you live and create your life as a co-creator with infinite intelligence. You're never alone. Never forget that. Now that you've done that, bring your gentle awareness back into the present moment, back into your body. Take another deep breath and release just one more time. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take a deep, satisfying stretch and know that the visualization you did today has successfully been locked in an energetic, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical level. Trust that this vision will manifest just as it's supposed to over this next chapter. Follow your inspiration, tune into your inner guidance, and believe in yourself the entire way. Your success is inevitable, and you are always on the right path. Remember that. Follow your intuition in those moments when you feel like dreaming up your ideal year again and again. And whenever you're ready and you're feeling your best, you can open your eyes. So can you imagine if you practiced that every day as you start your day, instead of fear and worry and anxiety and uncertainty? Can you just imagine the beauty that you could really create if you just take the time to visualize? Take the time to slow down, just to be. Remember, we're human beings having a spiritual experience, and when we tap into that innate intelligence, you can create anything. You can be, do, have, and give whatever it is that your heart desires. And it's so important because you're a gift to the world. There's nobody else on this planet just like you, with your gifts, your talents, your quirkiness, your personality, your fun, your vibe. And you're here to make a difference. And I truly believe that you're here for a purpose. So thank you so much for having me today, Kira. It's been an absolute, I feel so honored to be able to share in this space and just have this time with you. You inspire me a lot as well. And you make such a difference in the world too. And I'm just so grateful that we get to hang out on this journey together and help more people step into their truth and love and abundance.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your love and light with us. I'm really excited to host and take part of the 21-day challenge within the group that you're going to run. So I have shared some links, and we will continue to post about that over the next 24 hours. And please join the group, everyone. Please participate. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for your love. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. Make sure you
You're welcome.
share with us.
Absolutely welcome. And remember to have fun with it as well. You know, lighten up a little bit. It doesn't have to be all so serious, but just put the funster hat on too and have some fun, because that speeds up the manifestation process too when you're having fun.
And share it with your children at a, you know, obviously at a capacity that they can understand, but, you know, share these lessons, especially when it comes to gratitude and energy, in a way that your children can understand as well. And let's make sure that we're passing these gifts on to our family. Awesome. Have the best day ever. Thank you so, so much. We'll see you over in the group.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.